The following are the requirements to make this skirt. I'll be using this color of yarn. It's a green color yarn. Then it's also a robin yarn and it's a 50-gram weight yarn. You also require a measuring tape. So we'll be taking the measurement of this skirt and the measurement of the body using this measuring tape. And as I've told you earlier, I'll be making a waist size of 28 inches. Then I'll be making a hip size of 40 inches. Then I'll be using a 3.5mm hook, and also you require a pair of scissors and stitch marks. So let's get started. So we start by making a slip knot, and this is how we make a slip knot. So after making a slip knot, you just insert the hook on that big loop over there. Then after inserting the hook, just tighten the loop. Then chain, we'll be chaining 10 to make the waistband, and we'll be using a ribbed pattern to make the waistband. So just chain 10 stitches. So that is my first stitch. So let me tighten the loop again. So after tightening the loop, we'll be chaining 10 for the waistband. So just chain 10. So that is my first stitch, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7, 8, 9, 10. So after chaining 10 stitches, chain one more. Then after that, skip the first stitch. Then onto the next stitch, you'll be placing a single crochet. So we'll be using a single crochet to make this waistband. So just place a single crochet in each and every stitch. So as for a single crochet, you just insert the hook, pull through the yarn, then you should have 2 loops on your hook. Then after that, yarn over all the 2 loops at the same time. So keep on repeating until complete, placing a single crochet in each and every stitch. After making the single crochet, after placing the single crochet in each and every stitch, you just chain one, turn your work around. We'll be working on the back loops of these stitches. So for the back loop, these are the back loops. So we are not going to skip any stitch over here. So we are going to start making a single crochet from the first stitch on this row. So just place a single crochet, and remember you are placing the single crochets on the back loops of the previous stitches. So keep on placing a single crochet on the back loop of the previous stitch So repeat that until you achieve your waist measurement, and remember to take the waist measurement. We'll be stretching out this pattern. So after making a couple of rows, just stretch to find out if you have reached your waist measurement. So keep on repeating. Then after that, I'll be here to guide you on what to do next. After a couple of rows, this is what I have, and it's not my exact measurement because I've already made the skirt. So I'll be using this piece to guide you. So this is how you take the measurement of your waist. So let's say we are making a waist measurement of 18 inches. We are going to take the measurement of this piece, and this piece actual measurement it's at 15 inches, but when you stretch it up, it can fit a size of 18 inches. So if you stretch it up and it's reaching your waist measurement, you are going to stop at that point. So for example, for me, if I was crocheting a waist of 18 inches, I'm going to stop at this point and make the body of this skirt. So after completing making the waistband of this skirt, we are going to attach the ends of this waistband together. So you are just going to yarn over, then then chain one. Then after that, turn your work around. So ensure you insert the hook on the both stitches on this side and on the other side. So then after that, pull through the yarn. Then make a single crochet, insert the hook on the both stitches from this side and onto the other side. Then after that, pull through the yarn and make a single crochet. So keep on repeating until you reach on this point. Then after that, I'll be here to show you what to do next. After joining the waistband, you are going to chain one. So just chain one and turn your work around. So ensure this one it's at the wrong side of the skirt. So ensure this piece, this one, this which you have joined over here, it's at the wrong side of the skirt. So after that, turn your work around and place a single crochet in each and every stitch. So you are going to place a single crochet at the end of each row that we made. So keep on repeating a single crochet in each and every stitch until you complete this row. Then after that, I'll be here to show you what to do next. So you'll be placing a single crochet at the end of each and every row. For this pattern, we will not be turning our work around. We just continue with the pattern. And for this pattern, we'll be chaining one, then skip the first stitch over here. Then onto the next stitch, insert the hook, pull through the yarn. You should have 2 loops on your hook. Then yarn over, insert the hook again, pull through the yarn. You should have a total of 4 loops on your hook. Then after that, yarn over all the 4 loops at the same time. Then after that, chain one, skip the next stitch. Then onto the next stitch, you just insert the hook, pull through the yarn over, insert the hook, pull through the yarn. You should have 4 loops on your hook. Then after that, yarn over all the 4 loops at the same time. So again, chain one, skip the next stitch, insert the hook onto the next stitch, pull through the yarn over. You should have 3 loops on your hook. Then insert the hook, pull through the yarn to make the loops 4. Then after that, yarn over all the 4 loops at the same time. So ensure the loops are not tight like mine are, so that it can be easy for you to make these stitches. So again, chain one, then insert the hook onto the next stitch, pull through the yarn over, insert the hook again, pull through the yarn, then yarn over all the 4 stitches at the same time. So just keep repeating this pattern until you complete this row, and ensure you're chaining one and skipping a stitch. So repeat that until you complete this row. Then after that, I'll be there to show you what to do next on the second row. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you can just motivate me to keep on going. So just subscribe and keep watching my videos. Just completed making the first row using this pattern for this cut. So what you are going to do next, from the second row, we start increasing the hips of this cut. So what you are going to do, you are just going to find the stitches that are on the side of this skirt. Just remember the hips are always on the side of the skirt. So you are going to find the stitches that are at the end or at the side of this skirt. So let me find mine. So I think this is the stitch that is at very end of this skirt. I'm just going to pull a loop. So if you have a stitch mark, you can just place your stitch mark over there. Then I'm just going to find another stitch on this side. I think this is the stitch. So I'm just going to pull a loop because I don't have a stitch mark. But if you have a stitch mark, just place a stitch mark on that very stitch. We'll be working around this pattern. We'll not be chaining one and turning our work around. So we'll be working around this cut. So I'm just going to chain one, then onto this first stitch over here. So remember there is a stitch here and there is another stitch over here. So I'm just going to work on this very first stitch over here. So just pull through the yarn over, then insert the hook onto this stitch, then pull through the yarn. You should have the 4 loops on your hook, then yarn over the 4 loops at the same time. Then after that, chain one. So remember there are 2 stitches over here. There is this first stitch over here and this other stitch, but you'll be working on this very first stitch over here. So you're just going to pull through the yarn. Then after that, yarn over to have 3 loops on your hook. Then insert the hook again and pull through the yarn to have 4 loops on your hook. Then after that, yarn over all the 4 loops at the same time. Then after that, chain one. Then insert the hook onto the next stitch. remember we'll be working on this very first stitch over here. So just insert the hook, pull through the yarn over, insert the hook, pull through the yarn to have 4 loops on your hook. And remember to make sure that the loops are not very tight so that it can be a bit simple for you to make this skirt. Then after that, yarn over all the 4 stitches at the same time. So chain 1 and repeat this pattern until you reach where you have placed your stitch mark or where you have pulled through the yarn, so that I can show you how to increase the hips of this skirt. I've reached onto the stitch where I had pulled a loop. So what I'm going to do, I'll just insert the hook, pull through the yarn. I have 2 loops on my hook. Then again insert the hook and pull through the yarn. I have 4 loops on my hook. Then after that, I'm going to yarn over all the 4 loops at the same time. Then after that, chain 1. We'll be working on this stitch, so we'll be placing 2 bean stitch at the stitches that are on the hip or are on the hip side of this skirt. So we'll be placing 2 bean stitch. So this is my first bean stitch. Then after making the first bean stitch, just chain 1, then insert the hook again, pull through the yarn, then yarn over, insert the hook again, pull through the yarn to have 4 loops on your hook. Then after that, yarn over all the 4 loops at the same time. So after that, chain 1. So you have made 2 bean stitch at this stitch which is at the side of this skirt. So you are just going to repeat the same pattern of placing 1 bean stitch in each and every stitch. Then after that, chain 1. So we'll be making another bean stitch on this stitch. So we'll be placing 1 bean stitch in each and every stitch. So repeat that until you reach onto where you had placed another stitch mark, and I'll be here to show you what to do next. I've reached onto the other stitch where I'd placed a stitch mark, so or where I'd pulled a loop. So what I'm going to do, I'll just repeat what I've done on this side. We'll be placing 2 bean stitch on 1 stitch, so that to make an increase on this side of the skirt. So just insert the hook, pull through the yarn. You should have 2 loops on your hook. Then again yarn over and insert the hook onto the next stitch. Insert the hook again. Then you should have 4 loops on your hook. Then after that, yarn over all the 4 loops at the same time. Then after that, chain 1, insert the hook, pull through the yarn. Then again yarn over, insert the hook, pull through the yarn to have 4 loops on your hook. Then after that, yarn over all the 4 loops at the same time. After that, chain 1 and repeat, placing 1 bean stitch in each and every stitch until you complete this row. Then after that, I'll be here to show you what to do next. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'm almost completing this row, so we'll not be turning our work around. It's just a continuation of the previous row. So remember, this is the back side of this skirt, and this is where we started our row, and will not be starting or completing any row. We will be moving around this skirt without completing any row. So what I mean by completing a row, it's where we make a slip stitch, then chain 1, or then turn our work around, but I will not be doing that. So we'll just continue with this pattern, or we'll be moving in a spiral manner. So I don't know if that is the correct explanation, but just don't waste your time chaining 1 and turning your work around. So continue making the bean stitch until where we made an increase. Then after that, I'll be there again to show you how to increase this pattern. I've reached to the stitch where we made an increase. So what we are going to do next, we are just going to increase again. We'll be making 2 bean stitch at this stitch over here. So just insert the hook, pull through the yarn, insert the hook, yarn over, then again insert the hook, pull through the yarn to have 4 loops on your hook. Then after that, you are going to yarn over all the 4 loops at the same time. Then again chain 1, insert the hook, pull through the yarn, then again yarn over and insert the hook, pull through the yarn to have 4 loops on your hook. Then after that, yarn over all the 4 loops at the same time. So chain 1 and repeat placing. We'll just repeat making 1 bean stitch in each and every stitch. So repeat the same pattern until you reach on this side where we made an increase, and I'll be there to show you again what to do next. I've reached onto the stitch where we are making an increase, so what you are going to do next, we'll be placing, we'll just repeat what you have done on this other side. We'll be placing 2 bean stitch at the same time, and remember to space the bean stitch with 1 single crochet with by chaining one. So we are going to make 2 bean stitch, and to make these 2 bean stitch you'll be spacing them with by chaining one. So chain one and make another bean stitch onto the same stitch. Then after that, chain one and place 1 bean stitch. Keep on placing 1 bean stitch in each and every stitch. So repeat this until you achieve your hip size. And remember, when taking the measurement of your hip size, to stretch to stretch the piece of skirt so that you can find out if you have reached your hip measurement. So remember to stretch it out a little bit so that you can find out if you have reached your hips measurement. This is how my skirt looks after making an increase. So you should have something like this. And this is the point where I made an increase. You can see I placed 2 bean stitch at the 2 bean stitch. Then after placing the 1 bean stitch, I chained 1 to make the other bean stitch. So I increased in each and every stitch until I increased on this in each and every row until I reach my hip measurement. So let's take my hip measurement. So our for 40 is 20 inches. So the hips measurement until where I increased, it should be at 20 inches. So as you can see, mine it's at 18 inches. So let me take the measurement. Mine it's at 17 inches, but if you stretch it out, it will be reaching 20 inches. So that is what I meant by stretching out your hip measure, your piece, to find out if you have reached your hip measurement. So mine can reach up to 20 inches. So after reaching your hip measurement, you should stop at that point. You should stop the increase at that point. So after increasing and achieving your hip measurement, you'll be making constant row until you achieve the height that you want for the skirt. So let's take the measurement of the height of my skirt. So for constant rows are the rows with no increase. So this means you will not be increasing will not be increasing the side of the hips of the skirt. So you just make constant row by placing 1 bean stitch in each and every stitch until you achieve the height of the skirt that you want. So let's take the measurement of my skirt. So my skirt measurement, it's about 16 inches, because this 1 inch, my skirt measurement, it's at 16 inches because this 1 inch, it's an inch of ribbing. It's an inch of ribbing the lower part of this skirt. So just repeat constant row until you achieve the height that you want for your skirt. So for example, if you are crocheting a height of 18 inches, you should continue making constant row until you reach 17 inches, because this 1 inch, it's the inch that you'll be ribbing the lower part of the skirt. So from this point up to this, I think it's 1 inch, and that is the 1 inch that you'll be leaving so that you can rib the lower part of the skirt. So just continue making constant row until you achieve. So just continue making the constant rows until you achieve the height of your measurement, the height that you want for your skirt. Then after that, I'll be showing you how to rib the lower part of this skirt. So to make the ribbed pattern, first thing we repeat 1 row of single crochet. We'll be placing a single crochet in each and every stitch. So just insert the hook, put through the yarn, then place a single crochet in each and every stitch. So remember, we'll not be placing a single crochet in this bean stitch, so place a single crochet onto this stitch. So instead of placing a single crochet onto this bean stitch over here, we'll be placing a single crochet on this stitch over here. So place a single crochet onto that stitch, then place another single crochet onto that stitch, then don't place a single crochet on this pin stitch, but place a single crochet inside this stitch over here. So I don't know why my camera isn't clear, so just place a single crochet onto that pin stitch, not a pin stitch but this stitch over there, then place a single crochet onto that stitch again. Keep placing a single crochet onto this pin stitch, but place a single inside that stitch over there. Keep on repeating until you complete this row. Then after that, I'll be there to show you what to do next. After completing the row of single crochet, we are going to chain 6. Completing the last row of single crochet, we are just going to slip stitch onto the first stitch over here so as to join the round. So just slip stitch onto the first stitch over here, then after that chain 6 stitches. We start ribbing the lower part of the skirt. So this is my first stitch, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth stitch. Then after that we'll be placing a slip stitch in each and every stitch. So skip the first stitch and we'll be making slip stitch onto the next 5 stitches. So just slip stitch onto the first stitch over here, just slip stitch onto the next 5 stitches. Then after that I'll be there to show you what to do next. So ensure that you make the slip stitch a bit loose so that it can't be difficult for you while making this ribbed pattern. Then after completing making the 5 slip stitch, you are going to skip this first stitch over here. So this is the stitch that is holding where we are chaining. Then again make a slip stitch onto the first stitch so as to complete this row. Then again make a slip stitch onto the next stitch so as to start a new row. Then after that turn your work around. You are going to skip the first 2 slip stitch that you have made and we'll be making 5 slip stitch onto these stitches over here. So just skip the first 2 slip stitch that you have made. So this is my first slip stitch. Ensure that the slip stitch are 5 in number. So making slip stitch is a bit difficult and boring. So mostly I don't like using this stitch. It's not my favorite stitch. So let's count the number of slip stitch that we have made. So this is my first, second, third, fourth and fifth. So they are enough. So after that we'll be chaining 1 and turning our work around. So remember you are placing the slip stitch on the back loops of the previous stitches. So make slip stitch onto the next 5 stitches and ensure that you are making them onto the back loops of the previous stitches. So I hate making slip stitch. Then after that you are going to skip the next We are going to skip this stitch over here, then make a slip stitch onto the next slip stitch, then again make a slip stitch onto the next slip stitch. Turn your work around and start placing slip stitch onto the back loops of the previous stitches. So you just keep on repeating this pattern. So ensure after making the 5 slip stitch, in short, after making after making 5 slip stitch using a ribbed pattern, when you get on this lower part, we'll be skipping this stitch over here. Then after that, we'll be slip stitching onto the next 2 stitches, which is this and this stitch. Then after that, you turn your work around. Then after turning your work around, you skip this first 2 slip stitch that you have slip stitched. Then make sure you slip stitch onto the next 5 stitches, moving upwards. Then after that, you chain 1, then make another 5 slip stitch while moving on the lower side. Then you just repeat this pattern until you cover all the lower part of this skirt. Then after covering all the single crochets on the lower part of this skirt, you are just going to join the ends using a needle. Then that is it. That is it. Hope this tutorial was helpful. So don't forget to share this video and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I have a lot of design that I'm coming up with. So just subscribe so that you can't miss out on my next video. In case if you want any improvement in anything, you can just tell me on the comment section. So that is it. Bye. See you on my next tutorial. So I've also made a top for this skirt, so the link is on my description box, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and to like this video. Bye.